Good evening, everyone. The discussions on IVF have mostly been revolving around the medical aspects. But with the exponential adoption of technology we see today, it becomes all the more crucial that we elucidate on how digital health is transforming reproductive care. So in this session today, we would like to share diverse perspectives on how our esteemed speakers who have joined us today would elaborate on how digital health innovations in fertility have actually changed the world. So firstly, thank you all for joining us. My first question is for Mr. Kiran. What are some of the latest digital health innovations that have had a significant impact on the IVF industry, and how have they improved patient experiences and success rates according to you?
Thank you, Rashmi, for this opportunity. Hello, good evening, everybody. I think, please pardon me if I get into too much of the tech jargon. I'll try to keep it simple and talk more about what's actually happening right now on the technology side of fertility. I wouldn't get into AI and those details, but probably more about basic digital interventions that have been done in the recent past. So we would start with, let's imagine, broadly, I would say about two categories is where we would look at the digital innovation that's happened. One is on the patient experience side, which is more external. And then the other one is more internal, which is more on the data side. I'll talk about it a bit later. But to start with, let's imagine a patient's journey. If it starts off with them looking at probably a website or going online or trying different channels. So that's what we call it as the discovery mode. That is one place where, you do a lot of dissemination of information through online content and everything else. Once the patient sort of makes a decision that they need to come to an IVF center, then they get to the next stage of actually booking an appointment. So at that point in time, before it all used to be done by, let's say, health information systems, but now you have specialized CRM tools. It's called customer relationship management tools, which actually help then us understand the patient a bit more and help them actually handhold through the journey. So once that is done, then the next stage comes for them to actually take an appointment. And you have appointment management systems, and they come into the journey, then the queue management systems. After that, once patient is inside and the consultation happens, then there are two paths that typically go through. One would be the medical patient pathway, which the doctors take forward. The other one is the administrative pathway. And then finally, that ends up into the, continuing the treatment. So each of these, in the earlier days, it used to be like one single HI system, probably giving smaller bits of service. But as the systems have evolved, and honestly, in the healthcare industry, slightly, a bit later, but if you see in a lot of other industries, all of these advancements have come in before. So healthcare is now quickly adapting to it. Each of them are a specialty by themselves. And now we're at the stage where there are APIs and different tools that have come where we have experts in each of these fields and how they can all connect to each other and talk to each other. So Core is all about first actually handling that before we talk about big things like AI and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kiran. Dr. Rashmi, what is your perspective on this?
Hello, everybody. I'm really glad to be here in Hyderabad. Thanks, Economic Times, and all the supporting partners for giving us an opportunity to be here amidst all of you. Well, when it comes to artificial intelligence, it is an intelligence which is competing with the human race. And we know that there's a very thin interface between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. And this is one which we all call it as machine learning. Many a times I have my fellowship students asking me, you've taught us everything, but you don't teach us the protocols for IVF. Why don't you tell me what dose of injection has to be given to whom? And then I ask myself, is this what I can teach them? Well, this is what artificial intelligence is going to replace. You have your data of the age of the lady, her BMI, her AMH, and all these particulars put in, and then the machine learning of the computer system is such that it will tell us and pop up and show, well, the research of so many millions of IVF cycles has shown that this dose of injection will do well for her. It shouldn't happen that artificial intelligence will come to a stage where it will start making IVF as a do-it-yourself thing. So this is a threat, but at the same time, there are a lot of advantages that artificial intelligence or machine learning has got. The first thing is that we know that semen analysis used to be only the lab personnel looking into the microscope and declaring the reports. But now with CASA, the computer-assisted semen analysis, we know that the younger population believes the computer-assisted semen analysis more than what the lab people would declare. And this is the generation that we are going to deal with. The next 10, 20 years is going to be a digital boom. And in this, artificial intelligence is going to be the uppermost strata in the entire ladder of technology. And here, choosing the best sperm, choosing the best egg, or previously it used to be all eggs that you've got, you do an IVF and let nature select the best sperm. But here when we have to do an ICSI, it's about sperm selection. And sperm selection with artificial intelligence has become much more purified and better. And when it comes to telling about the success rate, it's now that, people, when they come to the fertility centers, even today ask us, what is the success rate of your center? And we all end up telling that success rate is as per every patient, and it's not a success rate of a clinic that we have to talk about. And now with artificial intelligence, I think this question will not be posed to us anymore, because the next generation couples would try to put in all their parameters and try to have an algorithm that will tell us what will be their success rate, and they'll know that well before they step into the IVF cycle. And apart from that, we know that time-lapse technique, you have the morphokinetics so well defined that you get to know the time for blastulation, time for morula, all of these coming up, and you will be able to tell whether the embryo is really good enough for a pregnancy to happen or not. And after all that, the embryologists spend in so much of time doing a lot of things onto the lab, which artificial intelligence will take away and make the life of the embryologist much more simpler. It will also give hints as to what is the right spot where the laser-assisted hatching should be done. So things will become much more easier for the embryologist with the advent of machine learning. And it is not just all of these. Looking at the embryo, looking at the morphology of the embryo, the chances of pregnancy can also be predicted well in advance, and this will make things very easy for the clinician as well as for the embryologist. But I would always want to keep one thing in my mind, that anything is a double-edged sword, and artificial intelligence and machine learning is also something like that. Just imagine if all the counseling is done by artificial intelligence devised methods, and if at all, we do repetitive things. Every day we talk about the same thing to every patient. Look, your fallopian tube, your uterus, your ovaries are like this, ICSI is done like this, take care, and all these counseling methods that we usually do every day. If all of these happens, then the patient connect and the actual relationship between the couple and the doctor might slowly wane away. So I think it is a double-edged sword, and this is all I would tell about machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Okay, I'm really happy that we are really betting big on AI and ML, that also in IVF. Similar question that I have, and I'd like to direct that to Dr. Satish. How is digitization ensuring smooth workflow? And like Dr. Rashmi stressed upon the AI, do you believe we are at a point where we can leverage AI-powered algorithms and data analytics in IVF?
Thank you. That's an important question. So first, thanks for having me here. I'm a little bit of an outlier. So I'm a digital health professor and an AI scientist also, along with being a doctor. So got around 20 patents. So all my patents have been into digital health. We have to understand in 2023, especially from 1998 till 2020, we had a rapid boom in digital health, especially powered by AI. Because we are always dependent when we talk about digital health, we always talk about two things, how you acquire the data through sensors. Sensors have become really, really cheap. And then how do you analyze the data? And again, computation has also become, extremely cheap. because of these two things, now doing experiments actually becomes much, much more easier. So previously, AI used to be unexplainable, like a black box. Now I can actually put my biology and understand how technology is helping into my explainability. If I, make it answer in simpler terms, so let's say, we now divide digital health innovation into two categories. One, which is a door intervention, so how the patient will come to the door of the hospital. So like Dr. Kiran was also talking about HIS, EMR, digitizing data and everything. That is something which is done, and then mostly now we are personalizing that, right? You will have an app for your appointment or for your payment, for your reports and everything. The real core part which is happening very interesting now is called the disease intervention. So when we say digital health, because of Microsoft, Google, and all the digital parts will always try to push that it is only digital. There is less health about it. As doctors, we need to be really, aware about that, what is the healthcare difference it is making to my patient? Is it only about experience, or is it also about healthcare outcome? So there are a lot of innovations, which are happening for digital health, where patient outcome is improving. So we have around 9 innovations, 9 patents, global patents in Santaan, where we can predict that why this patient will become pregnant or this patient won't be becoming pregnant. If this patient is going to pregnant, then is this pathway the appropriate pathway or not the pathway? So if we divide again, in stepwise, what are the 9 innovations what we work at Santaan? So one of the main work that has happened is for sorting the gametes. So now, I can send, so we have a program called Fertility, where you can order the sperm kit to your home. You can do it yourself, and you can know the score, what is of your sperm. Pure artificial intelligence, FDA approved, and very easy to do. And as I think my previous speaker was also saying that, there is a lot of male factor infertility and a lot of lack of awareness. And then our Fertility program is direct to consumer, where you can, answer some questions. You can order the kit, and you can know what is your fertility score. Now that is, cutting edge AI, which is consumer grade. Same way, the majority of difficulty has been that, ovum selection has been, very subjective thing. So the doctor would be asking the embryologist how the ovum is looking, and the embryologist is saying, okay, I got a large number of, ovum, but I'm not sure whether, maybe I'm getting a gut feeling that, this patient might not get pregnant. There's a lot of subjectivity, which is there, and AI is actually the answer for that. Again, we have the world first patent where we are having a biological marker. It's like, sorting whether this egg is appropriate or not appropriate. It's not based on the volume of eggs what you have. Even if you have 1 egg, but still you can decide whether this egg is properly or not. So this is research of last 20 years where oocyte, viscosity as well as the elasticity of the, wall actually decides how an egg is. It's not based on the volume of egg, what you are actually, you're stimulating, you're getting more number of eggs, doesn't mean that, it's a linear equation. So we have a sensor which actually takes the parameter from the viscosity and the elasticity of the oocyte, and we can tell that, whether this oocyte is good or not. And even if, you sorted the sperm and the ovum, then sorting the embryo also becomes a very important thing. And also, again, I keep on repeating this because why a doctor needs to invent things. Because, when a non-doctor is inventing, then, we heard about things like Gary. I'm an advisor to Gary also. The problem with morphokinetic systems is you are taking an external image. You're taking a video. And then imaging, interpreting that, this embryo might be correct. We are not taking a biological parameter. You are taking an indirect parameter. So for the first time, again, we are taking the biological parameter, what I was talking about, the oocyte retrieval, which is actually contributing to the sperm factor and the ovum factor, so how the embryo is going to behave in this particular cycle. Because one of the big responsibility as fertility specialists, we need to tell the patient when the patient is not getting pregnant, despite all the pain, whatever they've gone. So ovum sorting, sperm sorting, embryo sorting, which is one of the key parts of digital health, which is powered by AI. But the other parts, which are very small, but also very crucial. Because, we are always depending on innovations which are coming from either, Europe or let's say US or Japan. They have been done for those populations. They have been not done for our population. Also not for our practitioners. Our embryologists come from a different skill set. Our patient goes through a different, skill environment. So there also we have an innovation where we can do ovum pickup, which is assisted by robotics. So you have less blood, you have better yield. We have a ovum, let's say, sorter. So I would actually invite you to come to our new clinic in Bangalore, where you can see all these innovations. So we actually put this on our wall that, the innovations at work, so that patient can trust us, what we are doing. We are just not sitting behind a, black box that, let's depend on God that, what is going to happen next month. So you can sort the ovum after it is extracted, so the yield is better. Then I think, we completely monitor, centrally monitor all our labs, lab parameters, like the VOCs and the vibrations and the, skill level of the embryologist, which is actually done, which is a paper almost 6 years back now, we published, again, homegrown technology. So to tell, again, to repeat myself, I will say that, digital health depends on two things. You need to understand digital, cutting edge AI, plus you need to understand biology, at the physiology and the biology level, at the molecular level. When you understand these two things, then you need to identify what are my problems, what are the problems I'm facing. It's not about what are the problems the Danish people are facing, or the UK people are facing, or the Japanese are facing. This is my problem, I need to solve this. Then either you can do indigenous research, like we are building a mobile embryoscope, and we intend to keep it around 1 lakh rupees. It's a very ambitious project. We are doing it with IIT Hyderabad. Or, you have to depend on technology partners who want to work with you. Not that, they want to sell you something. So these are the two, main interventions, I would actually encourage. If you are heading an institute, or especially as a fertility clinic, there is innumerable number of innovations which is available, but you need to take the decision from top. You cannot expect your CTO or your CIO, to take that decision. As a chairman, you have to take that decision. Yes, I need to do research, not because, I want to publish something. I need to do research so that, my outcomes are going to be better. So that's what I will say. This is, a humongous era for digital health, especially in India. We want to invent in India, we want to make in India, and then we want to sell it to the world. And that has been our journey for Santaan. So that's why we have a vision called Science for Smile. We don't say Santaan IVF. We are not doing IVF. We are using science so that, our patients will smile. And that's all, I have to say.
So, like you said, that we need to kind of consider which are the technologies that we are going to be adopting. But a bigger factor is also how costly that's going to be, and cost actually plays a very important role. So my next question is going to be around this, and it would be, I would like Dr. Vandana to take it. What are the cost implications of adopting a digital health innovation in IVF, and are they contributing to making fertility treatments more affordable and accessible to a broader population?
Okay, IVF, if you look at it, we started with a success rate of less than 5%. And I think today we have landed with a success rate of nearly 50-60%. So how did that happen? So the last 45 years, I think Dr. Durga Rao in her talk, she has actually concisely put it, that we did a lot of innovations which happened, I think, different fields. It was not probably only at IVF, but we had a revolutionary technology with ultrasound. I think that went hand in hand. Then we had beautiful lab innovations, embryology lab innovations, which include the culture media systems have added on to our success rates. And then comes your digitalization. So I think we are all accepting that we are in the digital revolution now. So what is important is not the cost. We improved our success rate from 5 to 50. And again, even with IVM, she had just put up a slide telling 30% is our success rate. See, our goal is not about decreasing cost. It is not about anything, but we want to be perfect. And right now, IVF is an evidence-based medicine. We are still dependent on a large data accumulation, especially of our Indian ethnicity, I would say, which is totally lacking. Today, all the decisions, like what she said, AI, the most critical thing that is required in your AI for understanding ovarian stimulation would be the ethnicity, which we totally lack. We are dependent on Western data to stimulate our patients. We are not having our own data. And I would tell that today with the ART Act coming in place, with asking us to submit all our data, basically our success rates, I think this will probably revolutionize our treatment modalities in future. Because cost, yes, it is a concern, because at the end of the day, our Indian population is still going through the gap in the cost. But I think we as doctors, we should try at the end of the day to give the patient the success rate in her first cycle. Let's not experiment any further. So definitely the technologies that Mr. Satish just now told, and that is all going to add on to us. Now coming to affordability with respect to whatever he said, I accept that yes, the initial investments are going to be high. But I don't think we are going to dump anything that we incur cost, as an institute when you run, we are not going to dump everything on our patients. But we are going to look into how probably we can improve accessibility to patients, probably increase the volume of patients accepting this facility. And I think over time, any technology, probably the cost is only going to reduce when more and more people consume this technology. So that's what we have seen, right? Smartphones or anything. Computer, the cost of computer from 20 years ago to now. Today, everybody has a smartphone in their hand. So I think IVF is probably one area in medicine where there's a lot of research still wanted, and I think we need to go hand in hand, and we need to absorb cost probably at a very high level. Probably that is why investors have come into this field today, to absorb costs and I think subsidize treatment for our Indian patients. So that's looking forward to reducing cost. And accessibility, also I think, see, accessibility, we have to accept that majority of the Indian population, the data she quoted was 30 million. And I think it's very, very few people who are in the situation to access this facility. But the main technology that has played the game changing is in the digital marketing. I think every innovation today, we are able to reach the remotest corner. I think India today, post-pandemic, I think our Prime Minister has ensured that everybody is digi-savvy, I would say. So I think that is going to help the healthcare sector, that every treatment change that we make, whether we accept microfluidics, whether put TISA, micro TISA, I mean, everything, every innovation that you do, if you can reach the right audience, I think they will come back to you. And yes, we need not put entire labs everywhere. I think we just need to ensure that people are able to at least gain knowledge that such a treatment exists, and we can ensure that there are small, centers to take back of that, because the difference between IVF and any other healthcare, like if they need a surgery, they just need to drop in. We have patients coming from, because Hyderabad is one of the places where actually medical tourism is working, not only for outside Indian patients or international patients, it's even for patients within India. It's one of the best healthcare facilities for any, whether it's cardiac, neuro. People come from north for surgeries here. Why? Because it's a one day. They come, they stay for a short time and go back. With IVF, we have a very long treatment. It starts with injections, freezing, then you don't know when the endometrium is ready. So during this time, yes, people, accessibility coming and going. So we need to ensure that through chains, we reach the maximum number of people. So definitely, I think India is in the right place today to go ahead with providing this accessibility to everybody. And I think affordability or accessibility is what you asked. And telehealth is something that I would tell that has, I think post-COVID, I think all of us have accepted telehealth in a very innovative way. I think we are doing our video calls, our place where at least we can do the report reviews, give the right suggestions to patients. So that has also taken off in a big way. So I think all this also culminated with the digital payments. So that is what I'm telling, that it is a culmination. So I think we have just gained the momentum now, and I think the race has just begun, where patients are going to get the maximum benefit of culmination of all these efforts from various sectors, whether it is healthcare, the business, and the IT. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so seeing that we have 7 minutes, we will just quickly jump on to the next question. So Dr. Kiran, do you think there are any specific challenges or limitations in implementing digital health innovations in IVF, and how are you addressing them?
In fact, I think just now, like what Dr. Satish just mentioned about the technology people, if the people, like I'm a technologist, if we guys do the innovation and take things forward without taking biology into consideration, then it's over-engineering of a solution which is of no value. So it has to go hand in hand, and I see that's where the biggest gap is, where people have built a lot of tech solutions, and have known a few companies. They've done it with the best of intentions to put it out there, but they had to close it down because the centers, the amount of money that they have spent, it just didn't work out for them, and I completely sympathize with them. But if there is a way that at least the centers which have a significant size make a considerable investment, like we are doing quite a bit at Oasis, a little lower than what is actually necessary, but we believe that that sort of helps, where we put up a separate dedicated team of technology people in the organization who would work closely with the doctors to make it happen. And honestly, it can't happen without all the inputs that we need from the doctors and the embryologists. And I would still I'll keep saying it, there are a lot of new tech, everything that's available there, but let's get our basics right. I think Dr. Rashmi was talking about the data, the amount of data that's actually needed. Most of the centers that I know, like, they run on Practo, so it's basic appointments and managing the system, how much of the EMR is actually captured. What's the sort of data sets that we can actually look at, which can, contribute to research, can contribute to even basic decisions within the IVF centers. I think we're still not there yet. I mean, I see that, okay, the digital change is happening, very optimistic about it, but that requires a lot of execution, focus on execution right at the centers. So sorry, talking about more practical problems, that's what I think I've got to say then.
So the last question is open to all. As we look into the future, what emerging technologies or trends hold promise for further revolutionizing IVF through digital health, starting with you, Dr. Satish?
Yeah, so maybe I made it a little bit gloomy. So all I will say is two things. Is biology plus digital is always going to be very, very helpful, and this is doable. Because we import almost 99% of the equipments, right, as well as the hormones, that's why IVF is so expensive for India. Once we start innovating and building it from ourselves, so we can actually reduce the cost. So that is, very, very first thing. We use our internal innovations, and our costs are actually, our margins are very high. Because they are using it for it. Today I can announce that, all the people who are using IVF are welcome to see our innovations, and then, we can actually make a special price only for India, though we intend to make it as a global company. But definitely, I think, we would like to have the first user kind of stuff. So you can set up your lab as a modular lab. You can monitor it completely with IoT. You can have your, very specialized equipment to sort your ovum, your sperm, your ICSI, everything. So I would be happy to do that part. That has been our mission. But most important, I would say, is based on digital health and especially AI and new sensor technology, IVF is going to be more explainable. Currently, we are at a state where, this success rate is a very pathetic thing, what doctors have to really answer. And if you really take the survey of patients, IVF centers are money-looting, centers. They just, give you a lot of injections, you don't become pregnant, but you end up paying a lot of money. This is the practical reality, which we have to face it. And the main reason for this is because, we are not able to build trust with patients. And trust will only come when transparency comes. Transparency will only come when you can explain, okay, you could not get pregnant because of these things before starting the stimulation. Currently, we are putting them on a trial and then say that, let's hope that, you get pregnant. That is, that has to change. And AI has got that part because I can say, okay, this sperm is actually the optimum one, or this ovum is the optimum one, this embryo is the optimum one, this uterine environment is the optimum one, and this pregnancy outcome is going to be the optimum one. So I think it has got tremendous potential, and we need to invent ourselves, and future is really, really going to look very, very bright.
Dr. Rashmi, your perspective.
If I have to speak about artificial intelligence in the near future, I would actually wake up with a nightmare. What if artificial intelligence goes on to the extent of creating a robot that will replace me? I enjoy doing my work. I enjoy talking to patients. I really don't want that to happen. Your robo-assisted ICSI is fine. It cannot work without me behind the scene. But what if it replaces me and counsels the patient? I wouldn't enjoy my job anymore.
As AI scientists, we have a panel globally. This also the challenge, which we faced during COVID also. So how to control information and how not to give in to misinformation. There is never going to be a time, I think you all also would have watched Oppenheimer, that, AI is going to overtake, human. They are always going to be assisting us. It is our responsibility how a good assistant we make the AI tool to be. So it is our decision, what is the algorithm I'm writing and what is the output I'm expecting. There are ethical challenges. There are these challenges that, if they've given me some wrong data, like you cannot expect that, you put a question to ChatGPT and it gives you an answer and you have to understand that, this is God's answer. No, you have to put your brain again.
Yeah.
That is what is human intervention. The moment humans are going to depend on ChatGPT completely without applying their intelligence, then always artificial intelligence got a fake way of overtaking human. But humans have created AI, so there is no danger of them ever taking us over. We are very safe, we are very sound, we have a lot of problem to solve, and we can use these beautiful tools which are very, very efficient to our use. Maybe that's all I can say.
Yeah, this is the only assurance I think as clinicians we would want from the leaders in artificial intelligence. Well, I think the greatest innovation would be artificial intelligence piling up all the information. When it comes to my way of working, I am always dependent on the reports of the patient. I would want to understand if all the blood test reports are all properly entered in the file, and I'm sure as what her recent thyroid levels are, what is her blood pressure presently, is there a gain or a drastic reduction in her weight. If artificial intelligence provides a platform and makes viewing easy for us to understand about the patient, nothing like that for us. But of course, I did express my threat of what artificial intelligence can pose to us, and I'm glad you cleared it for us.
Dr. Vandana, your take?
One important area probably where AI is going to help us is in research and analysis. Because, see, our human mind is actually, we can micromanage things because we are built for that. But when it comes to huge data analysis, our mind can't comprehend. So when we put everything into the system, and if I've suppose introduced like a micro TISA into my program, or a TISA for a high DFI or a microfluidics, and I want to know whether that's bringing a change in my success rate. So this is something that the AI is going to tell us. So I think that's a very useful tool that we are going to be using in our near future. And other important part, the drawback of AI or probably digital thing is, see, how you are brought up with, that is what your mind is accustomed to. Like a language, if you're speaking in your Telugu, it becomes difficult to translate in your mind and speak in Kannada again, or English again. So here, digitalization should start for our children actually, because I have seen doctors who are used to learn in medical college, and then I tell I want to make my center paperless. It's so difficult to make our paramedical staff. See, our healthcare has a conjecture of so many different people coming from different strata of society. So making them all actually coming into your system and going forward, I think that's a little challenging. So that's where I think we need to inculcate the habit of using a system regularly. So then our management team is very happy. Now, other important thing where AI will probably in future help us is the genomics. So AI in genomics, it's progressing at a very fast rate. So our embryo selection and all, the most non-invasive ways what we are looking for, and that will be the near future, I think, where genomics rides our IVF success rates, yeah. That's
So
it. Yeah,
we'll
thank
finish with a quick quote by Dr. Kiran.
Oh, yeah, sure. Dr. Rashmi, I think I was speaking to somebody, one of the startups in Israel who were doing some AI work in clinical settings. So they said AI won't replace doctors, but doctors who use AI will replace doctors who don't. So, so that's something that's actually coming out. So it's about how well we can actually embrace this change. Very quickly in India, I think we're just at the stage, like Dr. Vandana just mentioned, all the other people other than the doctors and everybody else need to first put in the data, the garbage, otherwise it'll be garbage in and garbage out. So once we have all that data that's out there, that's when all these real AI models can be applied. And then especially with the Indian ethnic conditions, and I think the future is looking very bright there on that front. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, that brings us to the end of this insightful panel discussion and on how digital health innovation is truly revolutionizing productive care. A big thanks to all the panelists for sharing their experience and insights with us. Thank you, everyone.
I just want to add one thing. I think we haven't discussed about the e-witnessing system. That is the biggest breakthrough, that artificial intelligence. So I think we are quite fortunate to have this as a great thing to clear the confusion in the minds of people.
I think, see, we have done a very good job with manual witnessing. Please don't get scared, okay? We are very stringent in our double witness system. So this is just, I'll tell you, then it's not about electronic witnessing system. That's not our thing. It is because as the labs are taking in a large volume of patients, we want to monitor our embryologists better. We need to look at their work performance. And that is something that we are targeting. Electronic witnessing, we are sure our manual witnessing is, I'll tell you, though the data tells 99, I'm hoping it's 100.
Thank you all the speakers.